Hello, I'm hoping I am live on air right now. I wanted to say good evening and a very warm welcome to you. I'm so pleased you can join me this evening. So my name is Kiki and I'm a doula. I'm originally from Sweden, from Swedish Lapland, but I have lived here for the last 27 years. And for most of that, or over half of that time, I've been working as a birth and postnatal doula. And this evening, I'm really excited to be here with you to go through this antenatal session that I put together for you all this evening. So I'm not only a doula, I also run doula courses for women that want to be doulas. And during that time, I've been able to listen to lots of birth stories and obviously supporting women having their babies as a doula too. I've seen firsthand what happens during birth, and that's why I'm so excited to be able to share some of that information with you this evening. So there's a chat going on the side, and if you want to ask any questions, I will try and look over and see what questions you might have and answer them as well as I can. And I'm soon going to switch over to some slides that I prepared for you, and then we can start providing you with some useful information. I'm hoping at least that's what you're going to find. So let me just see if I can get to my slides, which I believe is here somewhere. So let's have a look. So let's have a look at these. So I'm hoping now what you can see on your screen are some slides which I prepared earlier. So let's have a look. So what I've called this session is the 5 secrets to help you prepare for a positive birth experience. I want to make sure that you get the best experience possible while you're watching this. So it might be a good idea for you to turn off everything that is operating in the background. Maybe you've got email running, maybe you've got Skype or iTunes or any other programs on. It might also be nice to silence your phone and close your door, and you can give yourself this time to discover and learn some new information in preparation for the arrival of your baby. So I also have something I want to share with you. It'd be great if you could stay tuned till the end, and I will happily give away this offer a gift chapter of my book, The Secrets of Birth. So I'm hoping you will stay tuned for the duration. Okay, well, why don't we start off by maybe getting to know each other a bit better? You know, tell me, when is your baby due? If you're able to tell me that in the comments, that would be wonderful. Not only me, but all the other women that are on here. That would be wonderful. So I'm sure there will be some different due dates, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm just checking to see what's coming up. I know there's a slight delay on this live feed, but that's to be expected. So I've seen a few of the dates. So I've got someone there. Alex is due in June next year. Excellent. And Millie, I think it was February 15th. Nick, all next year. So that's excellent. Oh, someone due on the 1st of June. It's so exciting that you're all having your babies next year. That's wonderful. The other thing I'd really like to know, tell me, are you feeling well prepared? Have you started looking into the different options that you have? Maybe some of you are already doing some antenatal training. Oh, Sarah, I can see she's due any day now. How exciting. And Christmas Eve as well. So there's some great dates. But have you started doing some antenatal preparation? Be lovely to hear what you're doing, if you're doing the hospital courses or kind of, Millie is saying. Well, if you haven't started thinking about the birth, I'd be really interested to know what stopped you from just starting discovering a little bit more about things. We're not interested. Hypnobirthing, excellent. Okay, Alex wants the home birth, hypnobirthing. Oh, and Millie, this is your first antenatal class. How exciting. Well, I'm not surprised because from what I know from experience is that it's not really until you pass 20 weeks, perhaps, that most women start thinking about but thinking about the birth even, and thinking about the different options around that. So I'm not at all surprised. So even though might have started preparing, I just want you to know you are in the right place right now if you're currently pregnant and you're planning to have a positive birth experience, as well as gaining knowledge of what to expect in the first few weeks as a new mom. And you're also in the right place if you want to get some solid information so that you can make informed choices for you and your baby. So this is not an antenatal class about a certain way of doing things. What I want for all women is that they feel really comfortable with their choices they're making for themselves. And you're also in the right place if you've started reading books. I see some of you are already doing that and exploring your options, and maybe you already have a good idea about what to put in your birth plan. But I'm also very aware, but the reality is there's some real birthing fears out there that a lot of women are experiencing. And I want to just go through 3 of them, just looking at that right now. So one of the fears that many women have is that it's going to be painful. And I have to be honest with you, I think that every pregnant woman is kind of walking around in this light state of hypnosis, and everything that people are saying or everything you see about pregnancy and childbirth, it's so easily taken in, really we really hear it very well. And it really has a negative effect on us, I think. There's so much in the press and media, and often it's a negative picture of childbirth. And I am sad often to see that most women don't really get a good explanation about what happens in your body when you give birth. Of course, I'm not going to say it's not an intense sensation giving birth to your baby, but there might be ways around that and managing that. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, actually. Another thing many women want is that they want to feel in control of their birth. And often to feel in control, women might be creating birth plans and putting lots of different ideas in what they want to happen. I actually really think it's a good idea to put things down on paper, but I'm not sure if having a plan is so good. Maybe it's better to call it a birth preference, or maybe even a care plan about what kind of care you would like when you go in to have your baby. Because believe me, if you make a plan, you might have to have a backup plan and also another third plan. And often if you have a plan, you might also feel like that you failed somehow because what you had put on your plan didn't happen. So yes, definitely to learn more about what you can be in control of. And that's definitely where you're going to have your baby, for example, and who you're going to have with you. The other thing I understand, of course, is that I want my baby and I to be safe. And I've got some good news for you. If you've had a pregnancy that's been complication-free, and according to a big study that was done in the UK called the Birthplace Study, you're actually giving birth is 99.57% safe. So giving birth for you and your baby, if you are healthy and well, is actually very safe. A lot, well, on the same kind of level as safety as going in a car every day. So I can reassure you that it's safe. So let me go into the actual antenatal class now, because I'm hoping that the 5 secrets to help you prepare for a positive birth experience is going to help with some of these worries and fears that I know many new or soon to be mums might have. So a little bit about myself. I have 2 children, 2 girls, and they're both 19 and 17 now. And I remember when I was pregnant, I was very excited. I went to the doctor to have my pregnancy confirmed and came out of there thinking, oh, wow, he was not as excited as I was about my pregnancy, and also a little bit left to try and work out for myself what I needed to do next. I did not feel that great support I had hoped for, and was even a bit concerned, how can I be left just to get on with things? How do I know what everything I'm doing is the right thing to do? And after having my children, I discovered this, after muddling through and finding my way, I discovered this wonderful profession of doulas, and became a doula only when my children were young. And from then on, I have discovered a lot of excellent secrets by watching women give birth, but also listening to women, as I said, and unpicking with them the different birth stories and birth experiences that they had. So that's what I'm so happy to share this with you. So the first secret is actually secret number 1. You're allowed to choose and do whatever you want. And there's a great belief, and you might often hear actually from women that they say, I had to be induced, or things like, I couldn't have a home birth. I wasn't allowed to have a home birth. But actually, during your midwife's appointment, it's a good time to ask the questions that you need to have answered, so you can plan for different things. For example, where you want to have your baby, but also whether there's other options available. And I'll go through a little decision-making tool in a minute, which I think will be helpful. But you are actually allowed to choose and do whatever you want in pregnancy and even during childbirth. There's nothing you have to do, but I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to what the medical advice is, but also find out if there are options and other things that you can do. Secret number 2 is that childbirth is a physiological event. It's something that just happens. And I think this is what makes me most upset, is that this is not what women are told. So what is a physiological process? Well, a physiological process is something that happens in a woman's body with the help of hormones, and without you even having to engage your brain for it. It's automatic. It's like, your body knows how to cough, sneeze, produce waste, digest and process foods into energy. And it's exactly the same when you give birth to your baby. So the most important thing that you will discover, I'm hoping, is that it's the support and the environment you give birth in. Because childbirth actually is not something that you're in a different kind of state when you give birth. And that all happens with the help of these hormones. Secret 3 is that you don't need to study for childbirth. It's all within you. And what I mean here is that it's not an academic thing. It's not that you have to study like we do for tests to pass and fail. Childbirth isn't like that. You can't actually give birth the wrong way. Whatever is best for you and your baby, and the choices you make, are fine. And it's a shame sometimes that women feel that they failed because they didn't have the birth that they had planned for. But perhaps that was just the way that the birth was going to be. So I think it's important, though, to kind of prepare yourself well, so you know your options, you kind of know what you say yes to, and you know what's available to you in the scene or setting that you're going to have your baby. But there's no need to spend hours and hours studying on childbirth, because what happens is, childbirth actually happens in the part of your brain where the primitive part of your brain. So the more you are in your thinking, intelligent brain, sometimes that can actually hinder things rather than help them. Secret number 4 is that childbirth changes a woman's view of herself. And I've seen that so often. And there was a study actually carried out by Birthrights through Mumsnet, where they asked over 1,000 women that had given birth. And actually 63% of women agreed that the birth they had an impact on how they felt about themselves. So it's really important to remember that you want to have good support. You want to be able to make some good choices in childbirth so that you feel that you took part in your own birth experience. I think that's what sometimes makes some women feel that they had more of a negative experience rather than what they had hoped for. And the final secret, number 5, is that there's no such thing as perfect parenting. Good enough will do. And I know you're all pregnant at the moment, so they can be really difficult actually to think about when the baby is there. I get that totally. It's the same for most of us actually. All our focus is on actually having the baby, and then well, guess we'll just work it out when the baby is here. So it's difficult to take this information on board, but a good little tip for you is to remember that there are actually no rhyme and reason to parenting. There's no kind of technique or ways to make it easier and make it consistent. It's basically changing on a daily basis. There's always something new happening. What worked maybe one day might not work the next day, and vice versa. So the thing to focus on is that there's no such thing as being perfect, and being the best you can and doing the best you do is absolutely okay. So let's see what we move on. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Did you know some of these secrets, or are they all news to you? I'd be really interested in hearing. I just know there's a little bit of a lag on the live chat, so I'm just checking to see if you agree with me, or if you knew all of this, or maybe you even disagree with me. That's fine. Okay, I can see Cara is there and enjoying the insights. That's nice. Okay. Hypnobirthing is really helpful. I understand that, but there might be other stuff that can be helping with that too. So, okay, I've got a question there about the physiology. So there's you have the physical side of childbirth, which is of course when you don't actually have to push. The sensations of giving birth, or the sensation, the body's automatic. It's actually called the fetal ejection reflex. So your body actually pushes the baby out without you having to push. But most women feel a very, very strong urge to push, and then they help along with what they can feel in their body. When I'm talking about physiology is the science of what happens in your body with the help of hormones. For example, going to sleep. That's a physiological process. So I know it's confusing because you think about the physiology as in the physical sensations, but this is all on a hormonal level. So something that happens in your brain when we're talking about physiology. So the secret is, because it is a secret, I don't think most women understand that childbirth is just like a sneeze. Okay, fair enough. I know you don't sneeze your baby out, but your body sneezes because it needs to clear something from its nose. And when you give birth, the hormones take over, and they will help and support you. And some of the hormones help with the sensations of childbirth, and the other hormones are actually there to bring the baby into this world. So they're kind of two different things, the physical side of the childbirth and the physiology. So I hope that clears that up. Does it say Shosh and Mir? That's a very nice name. Okay, so I want to move on because I have this really great tool I want to share with you, and it's an informed decision-making tool. And it's based around the acronym BRAIN. And I would really, I don't want to advise you, but I would say a really good tip is to put this down somewhere and have it with you whenever you go and see a midwife or a doctor or have any appointments. And actually anything you will do, this will always be helpful. So what do the letters stand for? Well, B stands for benefits. So if you're ever offered any kind of intervention or tests or anything, it's a good idea to find that and ask what are the benefits of this course of action. So to help you make a decision, you need to know what the benefits are. The R stands for the risks. Are there any risks? Maybe there are no risks, but it's worth finding out, right? Because at least then you're making an informed choice. The A stands for alternatives. So are there any alternatives to what's being suggested? The next thing is the I, which stands for intuition. What do I feel in my heart is the right thing to do? And that might not always be so easy, but most of us can tune into this feeling of knowing what fits with us and what works for us best in a situation. And then the final N stands for nothing. What if we do nothing and wait before doing anything at all? So basically, for an example, if someone's suggesting to have your waters broken, or maybe an induction, for example, you can go through these 5 different acronyms, as in what are the benefits, what are the risks, what are the alternatives, what's your intuition telling you, and what if you do nothing. I think that might be a really helpful tool for you as you're going forward with your pregnancy and all the meetings you have with anyone that you discuss any type of interventions or the way you want to have your birth. So I'm guessing, I might be wrong, but I'm going to guess that you showed up here today because maybe you're tired of trying to figure out where to go to get unbiased and factual information. I know what it's like. It can be exhausting, especially when there's so many books written about childbirth. There's so many different prescriptive childbirth programs and how to do things the right or the wrong way, when actually, as I said, you can't birth the wrong way. It's all individual, in my view. Maybe you showed up today because you want to be able to relax and feel excited about your baby's upcoming birth, knowing that you're making informed choices all the time. Or maybe deep down, you want to be able to view this as an exciting adventure and find someone who can hold your hand throughout it all. I know I was really looking for that. Someone to help me get through or give me some good information that I knew I could trust. Because meeting your baby for the first time is magical. And I believe that with the right support, knowledge, and preparation, the birth of your baby can become an exciting adventure. So I guess it's time for you to take the next steps and discover a new way to prepare for your upcoming birth. It's a complete antenatal program that will give you the roadmap to birth and beyond. And do you want to know where you can do this? Well, I am so excited to share with you that I have put together a complete antenatal program, which is online, all of it. And I want to tell you a little bit more about this before I get to my free giveaway at the end. So it's a 6-week complete online antenatal program. And I put this together mainly to educate, inspire, and support you as you prepare for the birth of your baby and beyond. And this can all be done from the comfort of your own home, anywhere in the world. So Louise, who did my course during the summer and had her baby there in the picture only a couple of months ago, her feedback was really nice for me to read. She felt that the course was really supportive and gave her a lot of confidence to move forward. And that's why I want to share this with as many of you as possible. So let me tell you what's actually in the course. So there's 6 modules, and module number 1 is all about preparing for birth, both mentally and physically. So we'll go through things like, how do you actually feel about childbirth? Or do you have any preconceptions? Like I said, there's so much in the media all the time, and from our neighbors and friends telling us how birth is going to be, and we might not even know what we believe to be truth about birth. So that's all going to be unpicked. And I've done this with so many clients and with so many women, and they've all found it really, really helpful. We'll also look at where to give birth, where will be the best place for you to have your baby, and other things to consider in preparation and the lead up to the birth of your baby. In module number 2, we're going to cover what I've just shared with you in secret number 2, birth physiology and the path to birth. So I will be covering it, birth physiology, in a lot more detail, talking about fight and flight and tandem befriend, and even the calm and connect system, which I'm sure most of you will not have come across before. And of course, we'll look at some unnecessary reasons for discomfort in labor and start looking at the actual roadmap or path to birth. Whilst we get to module 3, we will dive more deeper into the labor and birth process. So we'll go through the first stage of labor, the second stage of labor, and the third stage of labor, which is something that many women don't even really think about. You know, what are my options in third stage of labor? So we will cover that all in detail. I will talk you through the different techniques and things you can do for yourself to help it be more manageable and more comfortable. And then in module number 4, I will teach you about all the different types of pain management. I've called this module birth management because we will also look at other types of interventions that sometimes happen in birth, like inductions and also different variations of birth, such as assisted births, but also we'll have a look and talk about cesarean births, which I think is really important to find out about. And in module number 5, it's time to getting used to life as parents. And in this module, we will look at what can it feel like? What do many mums feel like when they've just become mums? What's normal? And we'll also look at some common issues with newborn babies and also some issues with new mums. And finally, in the last module, module 6, I'm going to take you through on the infant feeding journey, and we will cover some breastfeeding basics. We will look at how you get off to a good start. And of course, we will also talk about formula feeding and the different ways of doing that. So what you'll get in this program is immediate access straight away to all of the modules. So you can actually do them one every week, or you can actually go ahead and do the whole course in less than 2 weeks, I reckon. But it's all set up to go through a 6-week program. It's 100% online, and there's over 25 videos. I think there's more like 31 videos, actually. I've got a lot of checklists and documents that you can download, which will help you on your journey for you and your birth partner to plan this together. You don't have to install any software, and I will give you access for a full 9 months from the day that you actually sign up for the program. And I was telling you about these cheat sheets and extra resources. So I've got cheat sheets to make you get the best results from the course. I've got course completion secrets and the course curriculum checklist, as well as a lot of other stuff. I mean, this program is packed full with links and resources and videos to watch. And I feel really that I've covered everything that could possibly be covered in an antenatal program. The other thing, I will give you some bonuses as well, and I'm really excited to be able to offer you a full hour on one-to-one personalized support with me. And we can do this over 3 sessions, 20-minute sessions, or we can do just a whole hour together where you can ask anything that you're unclear about, things you want to know more about, so you can feel really relaxed and prepared through out the program, but also in preparation for the birth and becoming a mum. I also want to give you Katie Appleton's pregnancy yoga series, and this is the complete yoga series program. You will get the DVD, it's a downloadable, and you will have access to that straight away. Katie is a very good friend of mine and an excellent yoga teacher. She was actually Jerry Halliwell's, the Spice Girls yoga teacher a long time ago. And she's put together this pregnancy yoga series, which got a relaxation with it and some pelvic floor exercises. It's a really, really good DVD. So not just that, I also want to give you this lovely calendar. Is a little notebook where you can jot down what time you're feeding your baby, what time your baby's sleeping. I know most new mums really enjoy writing these things down. Not maybe enjoy, but it's really handy to have written down somewhere so that you know when you last fed your baby, etc. And it's a nice little keepsake, something that you can keep for yourself or perhaps give to your child one day in the future, maybe when they're having their baby. I think it's really sweet. And this is a book that's been designed by Anna Wilk. And finally, but not least, I have a private members only Facebook group where you will be able to go in every day, connect with others, just like you're doing here in your chat, which I think is wonderful. But also I will be in there every day checking for any questions or anything you're wondering about, so I can support you and basically hold your hand the whole way through, not only up to the birth of your baby, but also beyond that. So are you ready to start planning for a positive birth and beyond? And what you want to know, of course, is what the investment will be. I think it's interesting when you look at how much we spend on things like weddings. Getting married is a massive investment and is a massive, massive life event. So when you look at investing in your birth, it's interesting to notice where people tend to spend most of their money, maybe on a really good pram, which I understand you need that. And other mods and cons, but I'm going to tell you that the total value of my antenatal program is around £1,067 when I've worked it out and added it all up. And today, your investment to join the Your Birth Your Way antenatal program is £89. And then you will pay another 2 installments of £89. So it's 3 months installments. But all you will part with today is £89, but you will get immediate access to the course, including all of those lovely bonuses, which I've just talked about. There's also the alternative if you wanted to just pay a one-time payment, and you will save £20 doing that. So you can get straight logged into your members area, and this is what it looks like. There's all the videos there listed, and there's a bar taking you through to tell you how much of the program you completed, and all the sheets and stuff, cheat sheets and birth plans and everything else that you'll need are there to be downloaded. The other thing, just to give you that satisfaction that you're not doing the wrong thing, is that I'm going to offer you a refund. If you start the course and if you don't feel it's working for you and you just think I made the wrong choice, all you need to do is tell me by the end of the first day, and I will give you a prompt and courteous refund straight away. So that's your money back satisfaction guarantee. So just before we finish, I just want to tell you what the total package is. You get the Complete Your Birth Your Way antenatal program, bonuses, one-to-one with me, Katie Appleton's pregnancy yoga DVD, Made with Love baby diary, and instant access to the private Facebook group. So again, your investment is £89, and you can join the program straight after this video is finished. So actually, I was telling you I was going to give you the Secrets of Birth, a free chapter, but actually I've decided, as I've been going through this antenatal, that I'm going to give you that book for free. I'm going to actually give you the whole book, not just a chapter. So if you decide that this program is for you and you want to sign up, I'm going to post you a copy of my book as well, instead of just a free chapter. So if you have any questions, I'm going to now go and have a look at what is actually being said on the threads, because I want to answer some of your questions. So if you have any more questions, please write them down now. I'm just going to go through and see what you are asking. Oh yeah, yes, Sarah, I can see that you're due next week, so maybe it's a bit short notice for you to go through the course. I can totally understand that. But you know, the average baby is born in week 41, so it's not unusual. Most babies actually arrive later rather than earlier, even though I have yet to meet someone that actually thought their baby was going to be late. It's quite normal to think your baby's going to be early. But the average baby, as I say, actually doesn't make their appearance until week 41. So I can see if there's any more questions here. I'm sorry, I'm just looking through the board. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to just leave you and go back to the camera so I can see you again. I think that would be nice. And then you can ask me some questions, perhaps. So I'm back. What did you think? Did you enjoy this antenatal, or was it not what you were expecting? Have you got any questions that you want to ask me? Please feel free to ask me, and I will do my very best to tell you more. Anything you want to ask? I can see there's still a few with me still, so I would love to answer anything that you're wondering about. So the reason why I'm looking down is because I can't actually see the comments on this screen where I'm actually talking to you. So I have to look down to see if there's any comments coming up on my screen, which I have just next to me. So I guess I want to tell you a little bit more while I'm waiting to see if you have any questions. That I think that preparing well for the birth of your baby, it's really, really important. At the same time, I think it's important to really tune into what you feel is right for you, rather than kind of listening to what everyone else is doing. And there, as I say, there is no reason why you can't give birth exactly the way that you want to give birth. But making those choices for you and your baby does require that you have some information that you can draw on and make an informed choice. So reading books is really good. Doing antenatal classes is really good. But I am also not a big fan of prescriptiveness, where you try to tell all women to do the same thing and that's going to work for them, because I think as individuals we will all give birth in our own individual way. So I think it's important that you stick to your guns and do what you feel is the right thing for you, rather than listening and believing that you're going to do something that's not authentic to who you are. What do I think? When would you? Okay, I've got some questions here. Great. So I have Fernanda. Yes, I would say starting the program as when you're ready to start. I never think it's too early to start preparing, but perhaps when you're around 20 weeks, I would say that's probably a good time to start preparing. That's the time that most women feel they're ready to start thinking about the birth. And what do I think about hypnobirthing? I think hypnobirthing is a great tool in the big toolbox that I think you should be putting together. As I said, sometimes maybe just picking one way of doing things might not be great. I know there's so many brilliant hypnobirthing instructors out there and hypnobirthing programs where they're not talking about birth being completely pain-free. They're not talking about doing it just the one way. They give you some really, really good tools for relaxation. They change the way the birth is talked about. The language, for example, if you think about the language in childbirth, is often quite negative, a lot of the wording used. So I think hypnobirthing is a great tool, and something that I would say is a great addition to doing some other stuff too, because then at least you have a few different tools in your toolbox rather than just the one. So I hope that helps. Yeah, I mean, my program, I had a question here from Fernanda again, if the program's also for just the women or for birth partners too. Well, I'm very aware that some women don't have a birth partner, so therefore this program would obviously just be for them. But if women have a birth partner or even a partner, then of course this program is to be done together with the partner, because they need to learn the same things as you're learning as the birthing woman, so that he or she can fully understand what you want to do, what your choices are, what your options are, and so that they can support you in that. Because during the actual labor and birth itself, it might be difficult for you to find your voice and speak up. And if your partner isn't singing from the same hymn sheet, then there's going to be confusion. So if you have a doula, if you have a birth partner as the pregnant woman, I think absolutely you should watch this program together with them. And actually that's what the women and the couples that have been through the program, that's what they did. They actually shared the login, which is fine if you only share it with, so you share the same login with your birth partner. And one of them was actually doing the program while he was away on business, and his wife was doing the program when she was at home. And then at the end of the week, they'd meet up and they'd talk over what they'd gone through in the program. And they found that the way they could learn online was really helpful, because they didn't have anyone interrupting them. They didn't have anyone asking, questions in the middle of the class, which sometimes happens. And also, they also found the sessions with me really, really helpful, where they could ask the questions which usually you can't ask in an antenatal class because there's more than just you there. So yeah, I think it's really worth watching it with the birthing partner too. Yes, so I hope that helps, Fernanda. I'm just looking to see what Sarah's saying here about the words home confinement. Oh, wow. So she's saying my midwives used the term home confinement when I asked for a home birth, which made me feel like it was a negative thing and made me rethink my decision. Yes, I think, I have to share with you this, Sarah. If I hope, Sarah, I think that's your name. Why not start off at home? Like I said, you can choose whatever and do whatever you want. So if you're not sure where you want to give birth, why not just start off at home and see how that goes? And if you change your mind, you can change your mind and you can go to hospital and you can go to the birthing center. And then if you're there and you think, actually, I don't want to be here either, I think I want to use some other form of pain management, then you can move to the labor ward. You don't have to start off on the labor ward because you're not sure if you're going to need pain medication or not. You can start off at home and you can still end up going to the labor ward if that's where you want to be at the end. So it's a little bit tricky the other way around, though. If you're in the labor ward and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be here, then it's quite tricky to change to say, I'm going home and having a home birth now. So I would say any day, if you have a healthy pregnancy, why not just book a home birth? And at least you have it booked, but you can change your mind. Well, it can be a bit trickier the other way around. Now, I believe you can't book your home birth until you're 37 weeks pregnant. But actually, for the midwives to put you off, that's such a shame. Because I have another statistic for you here that was also from the birthplace study. And this was 65,000 healthy women who went into labor. And I'm just going to look down at my statistics, because if they went to an obstetric unit, so the delivery ward in the hospital, only 58% of them had a normal birth, so what we would class as a vaginal birth. If they had a home birth, they were 88% more likely to have a normal birth. So the difference there is like 30%. And it was nothing to do with any complications that these women had during their pregnancy or early labor. They were all 100% healthy and fine, but depended on where they went to have their baby or where they chose to have their baby, this big difference in the birth outcome was noted. So the next best place is a birth center attached to a hospital. 76% of women had a normal birth, and if it was a standalone birth center, 83%. So if you are thinking that you would like to have as a physiological birth as possible, and I say that instead of a normal birth, because actually normal birth, it's very normal today to have a cesarean birth. 27% of women do. So, and if you call a vaginal birth normal, that means any other birth becomes abnormal. So I like to talk about physiological childbirth, which is when your body gives birth without any help from anyone apart from your birth partner and a doula and a really good supportive environment. So I hope that helps. And you're not confined to your home. You can leave. It's your own place. It's much easier to leave your own home and go out than be stuck in a hospital where they tend to want you to stay once you're there. Okay, so if you have any other questions or any other comments, please feel free. In the meantime, you are more than welcome to email me any questions. And the launch of Your Birth Your Way is actually happening right now. So it's live and you can enroll now. I believe there's a button here at the bottom of the screen. And if you do, as I said, I will post you my book as well, which I'm hoping you will find useful. So I'm going to take one more look. I'm going to wait 5 more minutes. See if I wait that long. There's still some of you here watching. So if you have questions for me, please feel free to ask and I will try and answer the best I can. Okay, thank you, Sarah. I hope that helped, Sarah, and thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you to all of you for joining me tonight, for watching my little antenatal class, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to contact me, you can email me, and my email address is Kiki, Kicki, at birthbliss.co.uk. Yes, that's it. Or there's also a support line for the Birth Bliss Academy, support@birthblissacademy.com. You can email me there as well if you have any questions. So let me just get this slide back. And then I will be saying goodbye to everyone. And thank you very much for joining me this evening. And I wish you all the very, very best in preparation for the arrival of your baby. And all I want is for you to have a positive birth experience and that you feel well informed and well involved in all the decisions and all the choices that are being made. So from me to you, I hope you enjoyed this evening and thank you again for joining me. Good night.